How's it going, everybody? It's Sam. Now, do you remember a little while ago when I said, maybe I might take a look at him? Well, turns out I am doing that. It's Revoltech Megatron. Let's go. Revoltech Megatron is the second Transformers character released into the main Revoltech Yamaguchi line. Like Convoy, this figure borrows heavily from the designs of Dreamwave's self-proclaimed superstar artist, Pat Lee. Allegedly his designs. Fortunately, unlike the version depicted in the comics, dubbed by some fans the Stay Puft Marshmallow Megatron, this figure actually needs to work in three-dimensional reality, so the proportions aren't as overblown as they appear on the page, and the fusion cannon is definitely more proportionate to the body. The sculpt is actually pretty nice, the paintwork is crisp, and the Revoltech joints are cast in a silver plastic to better disguise them, breaking up the flow of the figure far less than its predecessor. Speaking of the joints, they work largely like those seen on Convoy, with a double revolver joint at the head and neck, allowing for up and down, forward and back, as well as 2 points of side to side, providing Megatron with a very expressive range of movement. Now, the shoulders are our first major upgrade, as the swivels seen on Convoy have been swapped out for a large revolver joint that allows more outward movement, as well as pivots at 2 points, meaning you could do a lot more with these arms that wouldn't have been possible without these improved shoulder joints. However, as a trade-off, there's no bicep swivel, but the arm can swivel at the revolver joint just above the elbow. The elbows work like Convoys with a separate panel that moves inside the arm, and the hands can swivel on a simple mushroom peg. The revolver joint in the mid-torso crunches, but it doesn't arch. It could be that they intended for Megatron to be hunched over perpetually and straightened out is arched. While it can't move back beyond straight, it does provide 2 clicks forward for an impressive bend. Unlike on Convoy, where the torso joint is set pointing up, the joint on Megatron is set into the upper torso pointing backwards for some reason. This means that that's the most articulation we're going to get out of it, but it does still allow for some rotation as well. The legs work just like what we've seen before, with the same restrictions going back, but still a full kick out to the front. They also still feature that molded kneecap, although this time it's over a less noticeable joint, so I think this one works better, but it still limits any kind of swivel. Finally, the feet can point up and down. There's an ankle tilt at the bottom of the revolver joint, and at the top part of it allows for some swivel action. The articulation is pretty good and allows for a lot of dynamic poses, but one thing this figure does far better than Convoy is stand straight, which lends itself well to the more menacing nature of Megatron. With that giant fusion cannon on his arm, he doesn't need to do much more than just stand firm and let the cannon do the talking. That said, he also takes to more action-oriented poses pretty well, so I guess there's a lot of option there. And speaking of options, Megatron doesn't come with as much stuff as Convoy, but I guess when your primary weapon is mounted to your arm, you don't really need anything else. Swapping the hands is a little easier than on Convoy, though the fusion cannon does make the right hand a little tough to get at. The first time, the fist was plugged in so tight the peg actually broke off and I had to glue it back together. Now, the first option hand we have is actually completely useless to Megatron, being a weapon holding hand. While Megatron doesn't come with any weapons to hold, you can remedy this by having him steal the rifle from Convoy, if you have one. Or, spoiler alert, Starscream comes with a gun mode Megatron that you can appropriate to paradoxically have Megatron wielding himself in gun mode. Swapping out the left hand is a far simpler affair, and once it's out, we can replace it with a splayed open hand, with fingers spread sorta menacingly. This hand works alright on its own, and can make Megatron seem dramatic or theatrical, but it pairs very nicely with the splayed open right hand. With both of these, he can get into some real supervillain poses. To further accentuate this, we have an alternate head, which pops onto the revolver joint peg very simply to give Megatron an evil grin that turns the supervillainy pose into a full-blown M. Bison-esque stance. Or you can use them as, jazz hands or something. Overall, Megatron improves upon almost everything Convoy set out to do in the Revoltech line, adding some much-needed outward shoulder movement, making the revolver joints less egregiously apparent, and allowing for an overall nicer standing posture. If you've got Convoy and you need someone to face him off against on your shelves, you could do a lot worse than Revoltech Megatron. And that's Revoltech Megatron. He's a worthy successor to the Revoltech Transformers legacy that Convoy started, and definitely a great pickup if you can find him at a decent price. Anyway, so that's it for me today. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted of any future content, drop us a comment down below, let us know what you think of Revoltech Megatron, Revoltech Transformers in general, or, just say hi. Also, there's links down below to all my various social medias, so come hit me up on one of those. I probably will respond. And we'll see everybody in the next video. Goodbye.